Well, it is another wonderful day. Good evening, and welcome to Living Life Unscripted, the show, a show that comes to you directly from Imani Television, the station that continues to build your faith in Jesus Christ. And today I have a very wonderful guest, and he's going to briefly introduce himself before we dive into matters concerning the environment. So stay tuned to Imani Television, and I believe you're going to be blessed. So karibu sana, our dear guest. Briefly, in a short moment, please introduce yourself to our very lovely viewers.
Yes, thank you. My name's Stanley Ambassa. I'm the County Director of Environment, NEMA, and I'm based here in Kitale Town at Information House.
Okay, karibu sana. You have stated that you are the County Director for NEMA. Can you just briefly give our viewers an insight into what NEMA deals with?
Yeah, NEMA is a national state organization which is responsible for coordinating environmental issues in the country and the county.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And I'll straight ahead go into our questions for the day. That is environmental conservation. It has just been last week just soon that we had Mazingira Day, and we had people planting trees all around the country. Now, what are some of the biggest environmental challenges that Trans Nzoia County faces? As someone who has worked in that field for approximately a long time.
Yeah, Trans Nzoia County is a country that is rich in biodiversity. This county lies between two major water towers, which is Mount Elgon and the Cherangani Hills. These two water towers are source of River Nzoia, which drains into Lake Victoria. These catchment areas are also very important in forestry. We have major forests in these two water towers, Cherangani and Mount Elgon. In addition to forestry, we also have two major national parks in Mount Elgon. We have the Mount Elgon National Park, and we have Saiwa National Park, which is the smallest national park in the country, which is now based in Cherangani side.
Yes. Okay. And since you have expounded on the wildlife and the environment at large, what are some of the challenges these wildlife and water sources face in our day-to-day activities?
Yeah, this country, apart from being rich in natural resources and being a major agricultural county, we are also experiencing challenges, especially we have deforestation.
Okay.
Most of our forests have been degraded through encroachment and tree harvesting. So deforestation is a major problem. We also experiencing soil degradation as a result of farming. In this county, people use a lot of fertilizers, and these fertilizers have been used for a long period of time, and the soil has started being depleted, and because of the use of these artificial fertilizers, they are also affecting our soils by making our soil to be very acidic. Yeah, we are also experiencing increase in population, and this is having a lot of pressure on our riparian zone and the wetlands.
Okay.
Most of our wetlands have been encroached, and there is a lot of deforestation along the riverine areas and settlement. Yeah, we are also experiencing a lot of waste problems in our major town, which is Kitale. In Kitale, we don't have proper waste management system, and the waste dumping site is just located within the town, and there is a big problem to the residents of the town.
Okay. Those are quite a very large list or a very long list of challenges, environmental challenges that truly affect our community at large. And as you concluded, you talked about waste.
Yeah, waste management in our town is a big challenge, and given that we have been using the linear way of managing the waste, whereby we collect garbage and we take to the dumping. But now that we have a new act on waste, we call it sustainable waste management. NEMA is now working with the county so that we adapt the new method of waste management, where we are insisting on circular economy. Under circular economy, we feel that there's nothing called like waste. What we call waste is a resource, and therefore we are working very closely with the county to come up with strategies on how to manage our waste sustainably. One of the strategies to emphasize on the recycling of waste. As a county, we are in the process of coming up with a waste management plan for the county, whereby we want the community to be involved in management of waste by actually starting from the homes to ensure that the waste is segregated, and the useful waste, or what we call waste, can be converted to something useful. So this is the plan we have at the moment, and we are in the process of sensitizing the community and working with them to ensure that we manage our waste sustainably.
Yeah, thank you. That is indeed interesting, that we continue to conserve the environment, and that involves each and every one of us. As individuals, as a party, we need to be partakers in this fight against environmental pollution and so forth. And you talked about, previously you had hinted that Trans Nzoia County has two water sources, major sources, and that is Mount Elgon, and we also have the one in Cherengani. Can you briefly just elaborate for us what is being done, or what can people do to protect Trans Nzoia and its water sources at large?
Yeah, in this country, these two water towers are very important to the county and also to the national economy. And being the source of one of the major River Nzoia, we have plans to work with the community to protect this River Nzoia and its catchment. Measures have been put in place to work with the community to protect our wetlands, which have been majorly encroached by the community. We are in the process, for example, in Saiwa, National Park, which is facing threat from the degradation of the sources, water sources to the park. We are working with the community to come up with a wetlands management plan, whereby we want to involve the community to come up with a strategy to protect our water sources by planting trees and using the water in a sustainable manner.
Indeed. Thank you so much. And while we are still at that, you have hinted on solid waste. You had hinted, on the encroachment on rivers. Someone out there may never know that I am encroaching in the river. Can you just briefly, in a layman's language, just explain to them what encroachment on river banks is, so that someone out there can understand that, oh, I am truly encroaching in the river and this is something that is affecting the environment at large?
Yeah, according to the National Wetlands Management Guidelines, the riparian area is a land that is about 10 meters. The area around 10 meters on both sides of a river is referred to as a riparian. And this land, you can say, is not private land. So people who borders these rivers, they are only custodian, and this 10 meters from the river, this area is strictly supposed to be used sustainable. There are some things which can be done on that area, and there are some things which cannot be done. For example, those areas are not supposed to cannot construct the houses in such areas. You cannot drain those areas. You cannot fence off such areas because they are considered to be like public lands. So people who are bordering the rivers, the streams, or water bodies, they need to protect those areas that are at 10 meters. In some cases where we have flood zones, this area may be bigger because we measure basing on the highest mark of water during the flood area. So the highest level of water, that zone is considered to be a wetlands. So it is restricted on the usage. People are not supposed to farm up to the river. Other they are supposed to spare the areas which are wetlands or riparian when they are using such areas.
Thank you so much. And as we move forward, you also talked about reforestation and also deforestation.
Yes.
Now, in reference to reforestation, I believe that the trees that are recommended when one wants to be a partaker in this fight in ensuring that the environment is conserved. What types of trees can you suggest to an individual out there who's listening, who's watching us, and is and wants to be a partaker of this fight against environment degradation, deforestation, and he wants to plant a tree? What type of tree can you give him or her, or can you suggest that she goes out there and buys and plant in near the place where maybe this deforestation took place?
Yeah, in this country we are taking tree planting to be a very serious activity, and basing on our presidential directive of planting 15 billion, in this country we have initiated a process of involving all the citizens to plant trees in their homes, and we consider all trees to be important. And through the guidance of the forest department in the county, we have been guided on which trees to plant and where. Especially we are emphasizing on people planting more of the indigenous trees. In this county we have very many types of indigenous trees, and because of the population increase, people are turning away from indigenous trees and going for trees like blue gums, which have become very popular because they grow very fast. But as a country, we have been discouraging people planting these trees, especially on our riverine, because they affect our water, and also on the farms, on the boundaries near homes. We are trying to discourage because they affect crops. So these trees, like blue gums, are supposed to be planted with the guidance with the foresters, so that whoever wants to plant them should have enough area where he can establish a woodlot. But for indigenous trees, we find that most of the indigenous trees are good. They can be used as agroforestry trees. You can easily plant them together with the crops, and you still get good harvest. So we are really encouraging people to plant trees in their homes, and given the changes we are experiencing, the climate change, it is very important that we plant more trees in our farms.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Still on matters climate, I wanted to ask, you have outlined all these factors that are truly affecting Trans Nzoia County as environmental factors that need to be dealt with. And basically, something that has just come to my mind is, what are some of the immediate effects have you noticed as someone who is dealing with the environment that has undertaken after this deforestation or encroachment or soil degradation? What are just some of the immediate impact of some of these environmental effects on us as individual or on Trans Nzoia County as a whole?
Yeah, in Trans Nzoia, just like any other counties, we have started experiencing climate change effects, and mostly in this county we are experiencing unreliable rainfall, and this is really affecting the planting patterns, the normal planting seasons, and food production has started declining because of climate change. And because of this, we have initiated some programs. Like we have a program called FLOCA, which is actually an intervention. It is supported by World Bank, and its objective is to work with the community to mitigate the effect of climate change. So we are expecting under this program to involve communities to start practicing what we call smart agriculture, whereby we insist on doing things in different ways from the normal way. For example, we need to do a lot of agricultural irrigation agriculture, whereby with the irrigation it's obvious that you can never fail, because so long as there is water you still have food. we are also encouraging farmers to move away from the traditional ways of agricultural practices, like the tillage. We are emphasizing on conservation agriculture, where we go for we call it minimized tillage, or reduced or zero tillage, whereby we don't need to do the normal tilling using our tractors, but we can use the modern method of reducing the tillage. Just clear the farm, and you can use the dipping to plant without actually turning over soil, which actually can reduce on soil erosion.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Kwa majina naitwa Chef Chero, mpishi wenu leo anaitwa Cherono, na niko tayari kuandalia mandazi ya brown mandazi. Natumai mtaenjoy. Sasa kuwa tayari ili tujifunze mafunzo step 1 by 1 ili tuelewe sisi wote. Leo tuko jikoni na ningependa niwaonyeshe vitu ambayo tunaandalia hii brown mandazi ati itoke iwe safi kabisa, ambaye inaridhisha mili zetu. So niko na unga ya mandazi. Leo nimeamua kutumia brown as you see. Pia niko na baking powder ambayo itasaidia ku raise hiyo mandazi. Pia si lazima tu tumie, unaweza tumia self raising. Ukiwa umenunua hiyo self raising unaweza tumia pia, utahitaji kutumia baking powder. Pia tuko na sukari, na sukari itatusaidia kwa taste ya brown mandazi. Pia chumvi, you see niko na salt hapa. Pia chumvi itatusaidia kwa taste ya mandazi. Nimeamua pia kukuwa na mayai kwa brown mandazi, but si lazima pia mtu kuwa na mayai, but nimeonelea niweke yangu leo kuwa na mayai. Pia niko na maziwa, as you see niko na maziwa ambayo itafanya iwe nyororo kabisa, but si lazima utumie maziwa. Pia unaweza tumia maji ikuwe substitute ya maziwa. Pia tuko na margarine hapa hivi, ambayo nitaitumia ndio iwe laini nyororo kabisa, but pia unaweza tumia mafuta tu kawaida ya mboga instead of margarine. But siku ya leo mimi naenda kutumia margarine. Na pia hapa hivi niko na grater ambaye nitaitumia kuicrate hii lemon, niongeze kwa unga ya brown ndio iweze ilete ile ladha. Kwa sasa tunaenda kutumia kilo moja ya unga. As you see nimeweza kununua kilo 2, lakini nitaitumia kilo moja. Na ichukua hivyo. Nitachukua margarine. Leo hii nitaenda kutumia 50 grams of margarine ndio iweze kuleta ile ladha. Mandazi yetu itakuwa tamu. Shachukua hivyo, niweka hivi, nichanganye na unga hadi margarine ishie ndani, shikamane na brown flour. imerelax ya kutosha. Na sasa tunaenda kuiroll. Before to roll tunakata into portion. Imekuwa naangalia vizuri, this is brown mandazi. Nikishatoa hivyo naikata na portion to into size, na niweke unga kidogo ili niweze kuiroll. Baada ya hiyo unahakikisha mafuta, tunahakikisha kuwa mafuta imeshika moto na temperature isikuwe juu sana na isikuwe low sana, juu hiyo inafanya mandazi crack. Temperature ikiwa juu sana au ikiwa low sana, inafaa tuikwe katikati. Our brown mandazi iko tayari kwa sasa, na ukiangalia inaweza kutokea very smart, ni brown na ni tamu kweli kweli. Mandazi nzuri kabisa ni ile ukishika, ukirarua hivi ndani imeiva kabisa, yani inaonyesha ishara kuwa ingredients ilikuwa sawa, mapimo ya ingredients ilikuwa sawa na haijakauka. So mtazamaji, uwe ukiungana nazi, tutasiti kupika chakula nyingi kama chapati. Kule mtazamaji unaweza uza kwa bei yako tu mwenyewe. Kwa sasa inategemea ni mwanabiashara yupi, maybe uko estate gani ndio ujue bei ya kuuza mandazi yako. Be blessed. Tutaonana siku nyingine. Next time, guess what? Tutapika chakula ambaye ni kitamu zaidi kuliko mandazi. Na ninamkaribisha kwa channel hii uweze kuitazama zaidi. Bye bye.
Welcome back to Living Life Unscripted. I'm your host Kageni Hilo Jadida at Imani TV, the station that continues to build your faith in Jesus Christ. And as you can see, we are currently at the Kipsongo dump. This is the Kitale County's dump site. And from the wastage that is all over around, indeed, environment conservation is a matter that every one of us needs to deal with. There's indeed a lot of waste, and we will be heading back to the studios to have a more insight or in-depth from Mr. Ambassa, who is going to elaborate more. Thank you. So welcome back again as we continue with our program, and we had stated on water or sewage, liquid waste, ama tukipenda, let's say sewage there. How can this sewage affect the community at large, or untreated sewage? Because I believe from our science lessons we learned that sewage can be treated, but we find that our communities, some tend to have sewages that are untreated. How can it truly affect, how has it truly affected the people of Trans Nzoia County, this untreated sewage?
Yeah, Kitale is a major town for Trans Nzoia, and this town is growing very fast. The population is really increasing, and you find that in this town we have a very old sewerage system, which was constructed a long time to serve about 10,000 people, but now we are approaching 100,000, and so this system can no longer support this population. So we are experiencing a serious problem of water pollution as a result of poor handling of sewerage in the town. Most of our rivers, like the Kipsongo River, which is coming from the town, if you look at the water, it is highly polluted, and this water goes into our major rivers, which are a source of domestic water. So you can see people are really consuming untreated water, which can have a serious health effect on our population.
And on that, on the effects, or the rather health effects, can you just point out some few health effects that this untreated sewage water can cause, briefly?
Yeah, this sewerage can really cause a health problem, like we have heard of late increase in this waterborne diseases. There is a high increase in waterborne diseases, and a visit to our health facilities can show that actually we are having this problem, and this can also be attributed to poor sewerage system. Yeah, so this county actually effort is being made to ensure that we have upgraded our sewerage system. Already some measures have been taken. We have done feasibility studies and designed for a new sewerage system to be installed, and we are sourcing for funds so that we can upgrade our system to a modern system to accommodate all the people who live in Kitale town.
Okay, thank you so much. And before we conclude our program for the day, I wanted to inquire, how can we prevent sewage from contaminating water sources in Trans Nzoia County, or even there at home? Because we individuals or families tend to also be polluters of water sources. So as we conclude our program, can you briefly just elaborate on generally how can we as individuals be able to prevent this wastage, sewage wastage, and also wastage at large?
Yeah, we need to, everything need to start from our homes. As we put up our homes, we need to also take care of our wastewater, especially because of lack of sewerage line in some of our living areas, we need to put up like septic tanks and ensure that when these septic tanks are full, we exhaust them and take the waste to the treatment plant. We have experienced a problem with some septic where people open them and release the wastewater into the environment, and this is really affecting our water in the community. So we are just trying to encourage people to put up, to construct the septic tanks or biodigester if you can afford, so that we minimize releasing our wastewater into the environment, because they have a serious impact when they get into our water systems.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us today in Living Life Unscripted. In a brief or short moment, I would like you just to maybe address the listeners at home and speak to them in a summary of what you can expect or what environment conservation is all about. In brief.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'd just like to advise our community that we need to take care of our environment. Our environment is our lifeline. If we mess up with our environment, we are messing up with our life. If we want to live good life, then we have to take care of our environment, and this should start from home. When we are at home, make our environment clean. When we go to our working stations, let us take care of our working station. Wherever we are, let's take care of the environment. A good environment is a sign of good health. So if we want it to be very healthy, then we need to have a good environment. And conservation has taken a step forward. And right now, when we talk of conservation, we are talking about improving our livelihood. For those who want to plant trees, we have now a program in the country whereby if you plant trees, you can even earn some credit, carbon credit, for the trees you have planted. This program is being rolled out by our national government, and soon we would like to see people benefit from carbon credit. So plant more trees, and in future it is going to change our life.
Thank you so much, sir, for having us this day. It has quite been an interesting segment, and you have given us a very wide insight on environment conservation, factors that truly affect our environment, and the need for each and every one of us as individuals to be partakers of this fight against environment pollution. So thank you so much for having us today. I believe we may see each other soon, and to our viewers back at home, please continue to listening to or watching Living Life Unscripted. I'm your host, Didida Shibokageni.